Okay, so our group got together tonight to have a discussion about working with multidisciplinary teams and to talk about some of the benefits, some of the challenges, and how it can lead to a therapeutic alliance with the patient.
Benefits of utilizing multidisciplinary teams in community mental health care.
I think uh, some of the benefits are taking care of the client as a whole. So when we work together in a multidisciplinary team, we take care of the client's priorities first and then focus so they can focus like on the therapy and the healing part.
One of the ways that we can do this is by supporting our clients with housing. So the multidisciplinary teams could work to ensure that the patient has housing vouchers, transitional housing if necessary, if a boarding care is required, or if they are in between housing, then they could assist with locating shelters.
Yes, definitely. Medi-Cal will definitely be a point of importance. Just help with manage health issues. Some individuals or clients may not have health insurance, so just helping with that enrollment if they need the help, and also vaccine clinics if any vaccines are needed.
Yeah, also, I think that community resources, such as parenting classes, a lot of our clients will need transportation to get to, you know, different resources that we provide for them, substance abuse treatment and legal support.
Yeah, and then finally, as Liz started by saying, once those different aspects are taken care of for the patient, they've got their housing, their medical, these community resources, then the multidisciplinary team can look to provide those counseling services that they really need in order to heal and in order to deal with those different things they might be dealing with. So they can do that through peer support, support groups, different types of therapy, so individual, family, or couple, and then just also advocating for support for the client. So, those are the benefits of having a multidisciplinary team. So, then some of the challenges that we talked about that can come about when you use this multidisciplinary team.
Yeah, so sometimes the team doesn't agree on the treatment plan. Sometimes you have experts in their field who might recommend something differently than another person. Your psychiatrist might want something different than the social worker. The social worker might have a different intervention in mind than the substance abuse counselor. And so sometimes, even though there is a team in play, every person has to contribute. And sometimes that can be a challenge if the contributions are not met with consensus.
Mhm.
Yes, and definitely with patients, it doesn't always like that the team is sharing documentation because sometimes the information that the patient is sharing is like is sensitive information, and they don't want others to know about their personal business. So that can definitely cause a challenge within working in the multidisciplinary team.
Yeah, and then another challenge I think would be like waiting for the referring parties to answer or to, reply because sometimes with our clients we won't be able to, get in contact with them and we're going to have to reach out to the referring parties and sometimes they're not always available or reachable. So that's pretty challenging because from there we won't know where to go from there. So
Yeah, and then finally, just working ethically and professionally. So, in an ideal world, the team, everybody would be culturally responsive, sensitive to the needs of the client. But the reality is that in some situations, you might have members of the team who are not ethically or professionally taking care of that client's interests. So, maybe talking about the client in ways that aren't respectful and that aren't giving them that respect that they deserve. So those are all the challenges that might come about with this multidisciplinary team.
Next question. How might working collaboratively in an agency that uses a multidisciplinary team structure impact confidentiality policies and thus the therapeutic relationship? So I think members of the same agency share the same electronic medical record, so there wouldn't be a need for PHI, and all members would be aware of the complete picture of the client, so there wouldn't be any splitting during treatment. So the client won't be telling one team member one thing and then the other the other team member another thing. So we would all get like the complete authentic picture of the client. And I think that's beneficial because you'll be working with facts about the client. So yeah.
Yeah, and definitely, I mean, like you said, Liz, the benefit, but also it could be, the differences in that, if that makes sense. It's just the patient doesn't always, like that the members of the same agency is sharing their personal information, their EMR records. I'm sorry, emergency medical records. So trust between clients and provider may be broken because of it.
So in the event that there are different agencies involved, because sometimes you are not at the benefit of working for the same the community agency that has a variety of services. Sometimes they are, put together through different county agencies. So when that is the case, you do have to get client permission. And sometimes when the client is going from a different place, they may not have that therapeutic relationship, and they may not understand with a different agency, they may not understand why they need to release information. But confidentiality is first and foremost, and we always want to work with the client to make sure that we have their verbal consent or that they have provided a release for their protected health information to give to the agencies that need them. So it's really important that the client understands that we will not just give out their information without their consent. And we want to always work with our client to make sure they understand the benefits of sharing that information with their permission.
Yeah, and then finally, just the clarification of roles with the client. So because there are so many different people within the agency and within the team helping this client with all these different aspects, we want to make sure that the client is very clear on what all of those different people are providing. This is not only helping with the confidentiality, but also helping with that therapeutic relationship. So they understand that when they're working with one person, that person's role and scope of practice is one area, and then when they are switched over to another member of the team to do something, that the client understands the role of the person who's providing that other service, and also that the people providing the services understand what their role is, so they don't try to do something that's out of their expertise or out of their role. Okay. And finally, this one.
Yeah. So, how do you imagine that you can navigate maintaining confidentiality and trust in the therapeutic relationship while also engaging in appropriate collaboration of care and client-centered advocacy?
So
Uh,
it's important that we have clear boundaries when it comes to our clients, when we're part of that team, so that they understand what it is that we specialize in. We really want to make sure that our clients understand what we can do and what we can't do. And that's why we are working in a team. So if I'm working in substance abuse, I need to make sure that I'm supporting my client in that area and that I'm not, that my client doesn't expect me to assist with housing, but that also I'm not overpromising or, interfering in my client's housing decisions and things of that nature. So I think it's really important that we make it very clear to the client what our scope of expertise is.
Definitely agree with you, Erin, with the clear boundaries. And ethical decision making as well, just using person-centered language, using our client languages, just so they can feel maybe a little bit more comfortable with the services that we're providing them. And then being culturally competent, just respecting what comes with them.
Yeah. Um, Also, coordination of care, I think that would be important. Doing a warm handoff from our care to the other team's care. I think that would be beneficial because we personally are handing them off to another person or another treatment team. And I think that will just make the transition so much more smoother than kind of just saying here, go here and, meet with so and so. So I think that's important as well.
Yeah, and finally, just that clarification of collaboration. So just making sure that the client understands that as they're moving from specialty to specialty within the team, that they understand um, that they are getting moved, why they're moving, and just making sure that they're clear on how the process is set to benefit them. Um, so yeah, so this was a great discussion that we all had, and it was good to talk about this whole idea of multidisciplinary care for a client. It was,
Mm-hmm.
good to talk about the benefits and the challenges, and I think we all, when we got to these last couple slides where we had to really look at, how do you put the multidisciplinary in with also the confidentiality and the therapeutic relationship? I think it got a little bit more complex, but it was fun talking about how you can do all that and how you can still make it work.
Right. Hmm.
Great conversation. Thank
Yes,
you.
good conversation.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.